Hi guys, this is Katja with Creators Image Studio. Long time no see, right? I'm very pleased to be able to present you with another video of mine because I finished my pre-made album. I showed you this a couple of videos ago what it looked like when I just purchased it, and now I finished it. Took me some time, as usual, of course. So I thought I'd show you what I did with it, and I will zoom you in. I will change the camera angle and we'll look at it up close. And after that, I'll get back to you and then I'll give you my thoughts on such a pre-made album. What is it like to work on a pre-made album if, as a paper crafter, you are used to make maybe your own, like me? So what are the differences? Are there some advantages? What are the minuses, if there are any? So I will talk to you about that a little bit at the end of the video. But first, let's zoom in and look at this little guy. So let's first unwrap this little guy. This is what it looks like when you purchase it. It's called a tiny journal and it's part of the Memory Hardware collection by Frank Garcia for Prima Marketing. And it consists of chipboard, which is already wrapped in craft colored cardstock. And the pages are also chipboard, 6 chipboard pages, also pre-wrapped, as it were, by craft colored cardstock. So the entire thing is craft colored. You could, of course, give that another color with paint or inks. And here's the papers that I used. This is a Mintay paper pad, 6 by 6 inches, and it is called Together. And let me leaf through. So these are lovely images of hot air balloons and birds and nice florals. It has a bit of a vintage feel, but also something like shabby chic. So here you see first the front and back cover pieces, and I decorated them first with some transparent texture paste by Ranger. And I applied that through a stencil. This is also one of Tim Holtz's stencils. And when it dries, it gives this, I think, very elegant, subtle effect. On the one hand, it's textured, but on the other hand, you only see it when the light hits it in a certain way. And I really like that subtleness about it. And I did that on both the front and the back cover pieces. And here is the spine piece, so I made it a bit wider so it could wrap around the corners of the spine, as it were. And I used a punch, a decorative punch, to add some interest to its edges. And this is the end result. So here you can see the front and back cover pieces as they are matted onto the album. And this is the spine piece. I also did some textured paste here. This I colored, so this is grit paste by Tim Holtz, which is this one. And this is translucent, so it would actually take on the color a little bit from its surface. But instead I chose to add a little ink before I applied it through a stencil. So I colored the paste and then applied it, and that is the effect that you see here. So this is Distress Ink by Tim Holtz. Mixed it through the grit paste, applied it through a stencil, and had it continue on here over the edge. So that is to add a little interest here, and this is, as you already saw, the transparent paste. And then here you see the subtleness. So here is the main element to decorate, but then when the light hits it, you can see this transparency here, this texture paste as well, adding to the decorative elements. And I chose as a theme, Draw Near to Me, and this for me has a Christian connotation, a biblical text, God as it were, calling me to draw near to Him, and that is the theme for this entire mini album. So let's open it up and I will show you what I mean by that. I found some stamp sets with Christian sentiments, so I sprinkled those throughout this mini album. And so you find these sentiments almost on every page, but you can of course choose your own. This is my album, so my theme, but you can imagine if you find lovely sentiments that you love, you can sprinkle those through your projects, of course. So let's start here. I added some texture paste, little hearts here, and this is a leftover bit from the colored grid paste that I also used on the spine of the album that I just showed you. And this flower I colored myself because I bought these white flowers here. And then I used some Distress ink markers by Tim Holtz, because then when I sprayed them with water, you get this watercolored effect. You can of course use any color you like, and you can do your own flowers. So that is what I did here. The sentiment here says, let your faith be bigger than you fear. And here is a little tiny booklet consisting of a cut apart from the paper. Every good and perfect gift is from above. And then you can see the pocket here. Look at this lovely paper. And here I did a little tag booklet. I simply used a brad here to bind it together. So I just cut 4 little tags, and this can be sort of a notebook kind of thing, and you can open it like this. And of course, one of the sentiments on the front here: accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. Next page. So the gussets are about 1/4 of an inch, which gives you some room for some bulkiness. So this, well, you have seen this piece in several of my albums already, and if not, check out my mini album playlist. But let me show you how it works if you haven't seen one of those before. So here I did a stamp, faith. Now the magnet that I put inside turned out to be too weak to keep this all together, so I added a 3rd magnet here. So, well, I guess I will have to buy some stronger magnets, because normally this would be like this, of course. But as you can see, the magnets aren't strong enough. But this is a solution for that if you ever encounter this problem. So opening it up and then opening this up. And then here is a placeholder for either a picture or a sentiment of your own, some journaling. Now this is of course ideal if you have double-sided paper. One thing I forgot to mention, I did not use any cardstock throughout this entire album. I decided to do everything with design paper. So I experimented with that. So it starts here already. So there's no cardstock to be seen. And then here you can see that as well. Well, let me show you a close-up, because I did use transparent texture paste again, as you can see here, through another stencil. Just partly over this flip page. And of course a sentiment. That is the same sentiment that I just read you. Accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. Here is a little fussy cut element that keeps this flap closed. So just flip it open like this. Room for pictures and or journaling here. And again, no cardstock. Again, a little pocket page. And this pocket will hold quite the bulky element. So I did a little booklet here. Look. This is a tiny, tiny booklet, and there is actually a tutorial somewhere on my channel. If I can find it, I will link it here, how to make these tiny. This is a very, very tiny one. Mine, I guess, in the tutorial was about this size, but it's all about the technique, right? So you can still follow the tutorial and then adjust it to the size that you want. Look how cute this is. And again, no cardstock at all. It even has a little spine here. Cute, huh? I think it's very cute. So there you go. And you can, of course, add some more pictures. You can write some journaling here or add an extra stamp. Now this page here is purely for pictures. This is a scrap mat. So this consists of 3 pieces of paper to make one mat. And you can add, I was thinking like a wallet-sized picture here. And you can tuck it underneath these petals here of this flower. These flowers, again, I colored myself with the distress markers and then spraying it with water, and then added some stickles here for some glittery effects. And the stamp here, it says, "Faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see." This is from Hebrews, so it actually has the Bible verse. How unique is that? I'm so glad I found these stamps. Okay, so next page. It says "Sing Praise," so that is again a stamp. And then here, this is a little belly band. So I stamped "Believe" and added little hearts here as decorative elements, and then you can, well, you can put a picture here or just enjoy the sentiment. Here's a swing tab, so flip it up. So again, still no cardstock, so this is why I use double-sided paper. That is, I think, a key element. You will need the double-sidedness of the paper, otherwise this would have been white. This is a fussy cut element again that I turned into a corner pocket. And then here is a little decorative tag, again with the colored grid paste. So I had some leftover still from the spine of the album, and I made a little heart. And you can use it to write. So room for a little picture here. Closing the flap. Same swing tab here. You can stamp or write some more sentiments here, maybe a date or the names of the people that you will see on the other side. You can do a little journaling here. I stamped "Faith," and then opening it up, more room for journaling here, and then another flap. I thought it was quite, symbolic to add prayer here right between the hot air balloons going upward, like our prayers going upward as well. And then here a little tag again. So these tags are just decorative elements. You can use your leftover pieces for that. They are ideal for such things. And you can add, of course, as many as you like. So this is a double flap with no cardstock whatsoever. Double pockets, so I did a little tag here. And again, with the flower that I colored myself, I used some different colors this time, trying to coordinate with this greenery here and the florals. So it's quite fun to color your own flowers. And then here is a little folded booklet, like the one I showed you before. Stamped Hope. I did some stamping even here on this very, very tiny piece. So this is a little dove. And then added some stickles and lifted it with some dimensional tape. And this is a belly band as well, so added a tag, stamped a little floral leaf. On the page itself, I matted again with several strips of paper, so turn that into one mat. And I do have a tutorial on my channel. I will link it here. It's how to make a scrap mat. Scrap mat is what I call these mats made from scraps. Another belly band, horizontal this time, stamped Cherish, and then tucked a little bookmark into the belly band. Room for journaling if you want, and you can tuck pictures, of course, into this belly band as well, or photo mats. Same stamp set, again with the Believe, you already saw that on the tag. And then you can tuck all kinds of niceness here into this pocket, like pictures, but I also just cut apart sheets from the paper collection. So here's a little vertical booklet, and then some notelets here. And then the last page. Every good and perfect gift is from above. This little swing tab here is transparent. And you can open the flap. Here is another little stamp, said Blessed. And this is a pocket. So I used a larger tag on purpose. So you have this effect here. You can of course do another one here if you want. And then last but not least, the inside back cover. This is a small belly band, and this is a flap, and this flap is kept closed by these tags. So if you remove the tags, then you can open the flap, which is, purely decorative. It says nothing is impossible with God, which is of course a perfect way to end this album. And look at the loveliness of this paper. You can use it as a journaling spot. You can add some pictures underneath the belly band and then keep the flap closed with one or more tags like this. And of course I colored this flower myself, added some stickles all over its surface, and of course the bling in the center. And that was the album. All right, so now you know what it looks like. And let me share my thoughts with you on such a pre-made album. Now, these are by Prima Marketing. There are, of course, other brands as well. For instance, Graphic 45 has their own pre-made albums, and I'm sure there are many others. One of the differences between, for instance, Prima Marketing and Graphic 45's albums, the pre-made ones, are that the Prima Marketing pages are chipboard, and the Graphic 45 ones are cardstock. Now, to me, that is a big difference. I think both have their advantages and their disadvantages. The chipboard is, of course, very suited for mixed media work, or if you want to add some very bulky stuff, heavy stuff like metal pieces or some such things that might crumple your cardstock or, you know, just tear it out of the album because of the weight, then the chipboard is, of course, perfect. On the other hand, if you, like me, are not a mixed media paper album crafter, how do you say that? Paper crafter. If you're not a mixed media type crafter, then probably the cardstock pages will be more suitable for you. At least they are for me, because this adds a lot of weight as well. You know, the chipboard on its own weighs. It's not flexible, you cannot fold it. So if you want to have some flaps and pockets, etc., well, you can of course add to that. You saw that I did that here as well. But you keep the very thick chipboard as a base, which, you know, it doesn't always suit my taste necessarily. And like I said, it adds to the weight of the album. So that is maybe a disadvantage depending on the kind of crafter that you are. Also, if you want your album to have a different color than the one it already has of its own accord, like mine is craft colored, as you saw, and you most of the time you can also buy them in white or off-white or black. So most of the time it's those three basic colors. But if you want another color, blue, green, red, you name it, or even gold or silver, you will have to paint them or ink them, which can be done, of course, but it will take effort and time because you will have to do each and every one of the edges of the pages of the cover, the inside and the outside. Now, like I said, all of that can be done if you're dedicated, but I do feel that to paint here, you would have to try and get your paintbrush between the binding and the spine. And I don't know how neat that will be. Will it not look sloppy or, you know, unfinished just because you cannot reach certain parts and your brush will automatically touch the binding? I don't know how nice that will look, but I'm sure if you try, you can make an effort and get it done. Personally, one of the advantages of a pre-made album, for me, is the gain of time. Because you don't have to do your own construction, you don't have to make your own cover, you don't have to do the binding, you don't have to bind the pages. So those are time savers for me. So if I had to ink or paint the entire thing, all of the sides, try the inside, that would lose me a lot of time. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a problem, except that I don't like that kind of work. I don't like that kind of painting or inking if it's not necessary. And as a paper crafter, it's not necessary. I can make my own album. I can make my own album cover. I don't have to paint if I don't want to. So again, depending on the kind of crafter that you are, this may or may not be an advantage for you. So for me, it's a time saver, provided I don't paint the entire album in a different color, so I have to watch what kind of papers I choose to go with the basic color the album already has, like I have done here. Now also because of this kind of binding, it does have a bit of a crocodile mouth. It's okay, but if you want to open it, it will not really lay flat. It will stay like this. So you have to take that into account. It's because the way it is bound, in my opinion. Could it be done differently? Yeah, it could have been done differently, that it would have lain flat, but they didn't. Hey, it takes a little bit of expertise, I guess, or maybe just effort. Maybe they didn't mind, the ones who made this. So yeah, so these are some advantages, some disadvantages. I did love to work on it because it was something new, it was something different, and it did save me a lot of time on the construction side of things. Also, I didn't feel like being very elaborate. You saw that in this album, but I could have been. So I could have spent more time, more papers and more effort and made my pages more elaborate, because as you saw, the gussets are 1/4 of an inch. So they do offer room for bulkiness like this, or like in your decorations or that kind of thing. But this makes a quick gift if you want to. You only have to mat and then you're done. So yeah, so biggest advantage in I feel is the time-saving element. It's convenient above all else. Now, my next project, I'm not sure if I'm going to make my own album again, you know, in its entirety, or if I'm going to do another one of these, because I also have this one. I already showed you this one as well. I showed you both of them when I just purchased them. So this one is a bit larger, and this one has a gatefold closure. But again, with the chipboard pages, it is Prima Marketing after all. It has 2 extra pages. So these are 8 chipboard pages versus the 6 that are in the tiny one. And this one is called a magnetic journal. So the other one was a tiny journal, and this is the magnetic journal. A unique book-bound design, 6.5 by 6.5 inches. So there you go. So we'll see what will be up next. It will not be next week, as you have noticed by now. But I hope you're hanging in there and you still want to click on my videos. If you feel you missed a lot, it could have been just click the bell for notifications. Because I'm not uploading every week, I think that clicking the bell will help you not miss any of my new videos, because they will be there. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. Leave a comment below, ask me any questions you like, and I still appreciate your support by watching my videos and leaving comments and, you know, just being there. Thanks a lot, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.